This presentation is all about Abu Abdullah Muhammad ibn Musa al-Khwarizmi, or just al-Khwarizmi for short, presented by Vanessa Fairbairn. Al-Khwarizmi was an Iraqi Muslim scholar that lived in the 9th century, a highly decorated mathematician that worked in the House of Wisdom during the Islamic Golden Age, publishing over 20 works. 3 of his works in particular had a lasting impact that is still present in today's society, some 1200 years after their publications. The 3 books we are highlighting are the Compendious Book of Calculation by Completion and Balancing, which was created for the public and introduced linear equations, the Image of Earth, which was the world's first atlas of the known world at the time, and his own research on ancient Indian text that introduced. Al-Khwarizmi's birth year is estimated to be sometime in 780's current era, born in a country that is now known as Uzbekistan. However, he spent a majority of his life in Baghdad, where he went on to develop his many incredible accomplishments that extend beyond mathematics. Al-Khwarizmi died in 847 current era, but his legacy lives on in science today. You just need to know where to look. For example, Al-Khwarizmi was given the nickname algorithmi, which began the origin of the word algorithm, the same algorithms that are now the backbone of today's technology. In order to gain a better understanding of Al-Khwarizmi's work and accomplishments, we need to take a closer look at the world he lived in. The Baghdad that Al-Khwarizmi lived most of his life was in the peak of the Islamic Golden Age, which was full of trading of goods and knowledge, being an important stop on the trade routes between Europe, Africa, and Asia. The Islamic Golden Age lasted from the 8th century to the 13th. Many great Islamic scholars, philosophers, and doctors from fields of thought such as mathematics, geography, chemistry, language, and philosophy, to name but a few, gathered in Baghdad to both share and develop their wealth of knowledge. However, it wasn't just limited to Islamic knowledge seekers. The city of Baghdad was the trade center of knowledge throughout the Golden Age, creating a highway of knowledge from different regions that saw many translations of texts from Greek to Arabic, thus allowing texts that were previously unreadable to the great minds with a different mother tongue were now obtainable. The great revelation of translation led to a colossal extension in the library of knowledge available, and thus creating greater opportunity for theory development and expansion. The House of Wisdom was at the center of the Golden Age. People of different faiths worked peacefully to combine their knowledge here. Christians, Muslims, and Jews were all welcome in the House of Wisdom. Free of bias, great minds were able to freely share their knowledge and theories with one another. This is how Al-Khwarizmi was able to study the math of Ptolemy, a Greek scientist who had once attempted to measure the world. Al-Khwarizmi discovered the mathematical errors in his work, and with help, Al-Khwarizmi was able to successfully create the book called The Image of the Earth, or also known as the first atlas of the known world at the time. The best way to describe the physical layout of the House of Wisdom is that it was an ever-expanding library, with many separate rooms dedicated to different fields of thought, and books were placed in shelves in a similar way to modern day by author and title. Through his work at the House of Wisdom, Al-Khwarizmi had access to knowledge and texts from many different countries, and was able to compile this wealth of mathematical genius into his many, many works. Al-Khwarizmi earned his title of the Father of Algebra from a very particular work that is now seen as the world's very first math textbook. The book's title translates to The Compendium Book of Calculation by Completion and Balancing. The contents of this book goes on to explain systematic and linear equations, as well as showcasing how to solve quadratic equations. This was a major springboard that led to the separation of algebra as its own separate field of study. His work demonstrated how you could solve what he coined as impossible problems, which was solving to find an unknown value, or as we commonly refer to as solving for x. It is very clear to see why this book is seen as the foundation of algebra. Another major contribution to mathematics that Al-Khwarizmi brought forth were the symbols that we use to represent our numbers. However, these are commonly referred to as Arabic numbers. Their origins actually stem from a Hindu text that Al-Khwarizmi was studying and translating. It is his own research that also led to the creation of the decimal point and the entire concept of zero. Despite Al-Khwarizmi's research into decimals not really getting the recognition they deserve until much later on, it is still incredible to see how early these origins began. In conclusion, through the collaboration of great minds through translation of texts from ancient civilizations and the current ones at his time, Al-Khwarizmi was able to collaborate works to bring algebra forward by leaps and bounds. Al-Khwarizmi utilized the Islamic Golden Age to its potential through his work at the House of Wisdom, and is one of the world's most successful and highly decorated mathematicians, and is well deserving of the title of the father of algebra. The following slide just includes a few references of where I found a lot of the information on Al-Khwarizmi. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.